Hello, 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 hello. It's Burgess Taylor and it's Coffee Chat Monday. Oh, that's some good coffee. So today we're going to talk about something that I'm sure many of us have felt. I am guilty of it, and it's made me take a step back and rethink how I look at things. And I thought we'd talk about that in today's Coffee Chat. Comparing ourselves to other artists, writers, any kind of artist, any kind of creative person, whatever your passionate pursuits are. It's a trap, and we all, well, most of us tend to fall into it at some time or another. If we're not comparing our actual art, we're comparing maybe how somebody looks, or what they're wearing, or what kind of camera they use, or what kind of supplies they use, or what kind of traveler's notebook they have, what watercolor palette they're using, what computer they're using, what writing software they're using. We compare ourselves. For example, my friend Tamara writes beautiful, deep pieces of poetry. I like her poetry a great deal. My friend Maya has a way with words. Courtney uses color and composition beautifully. Romney makes sketching look fucking easy. Oh my God, I wish I could sketch like that. Just sketch. So those things come to mind. Now, am I jealous? Am I envious? I am thankful that so many people I know are such wonderful artists, creators of various sorts. But there are times when I question my own skill, when I compare my work to somebody else's, when I look at my composition and I look at Courtney's composition and I think, why can't mine be like that? Why can't it just be easy? Why can't I do that? When I look at Romney's sketching, when I watch her, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be able to do that. And if I let myself get stuck in the rut of constantly comparing myself to others, I wouldn't get any of my own work done, or I'd be blocked. So instead, I try to use it as a way to motivate myself to learn, to get better as an artist, as a creator, as a writer. So why can't I seem to get the hang of like lettering or editing? Oh, my book, finishing my damn book, shading, creating a three-dimensional antagonist, and a few other things. It's not that I necessarily doubt myself or that eventually I will be able to do it, but some things come naturally and some things we have to put more practice into. And some of that boils down to practice, practice, practice. How long has Romany been drawing? How long has Tamara been writing poetry? And I could go on and on and on. I have just been back into art, just gotten back into art, and I was really good way back, middle school, high school, elementary school. I was really good back then, but I stopped altogether. Real life took over, and I was busy raising kids, and I was busy working, and then I was busy going to college, and I was busy trying to get back into writing. I was busy, 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 and every now and again I doodled here or there. I think I drew the cabin from the syrup bottle, and I did pretty good, and I was like, oh wow. And then my daughter was like, oh, and my daughter is an exceptional artist, an exceptional artist. And I remember thinking, wow, when I realized just, I mean, when we're talking elementary school, I realized how talented she was. It's like she far surpasses me in talent. I'm so glad. And it's hard not to doubt yourself, to second guess yourself, your talent, when you're comparing yourself to other people. But comparing yourself to other people can lead to negative things. It can boost your confidence, it can boost your motivation, but if you overdo it, if it becomes a negative thing, it can lead to the blame game, to blame your lack of talent on, well, you just don't have the chance, or you don't have the this, or you don't have the that. No, 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 no. It will stunt your own creativity, your own growth as an artist. If I spend all my time comparing myself to other people as artists, whether they're writers or they're artists, they draw, they sketch, they watercolor, whatever. If I spend the bulk of my time angry or guilty or jealous or envious over somebody else's talent, then one, I'm not gonna get any of my own shit done. I'm not gonna learn. I'm not gonna grow as an artist. And that's a very bad thing. I mean, you're not gonna grow. You have to follow your own path. You have to work on your own art. It didn't take me but a minute to realize that lettering was going to be something I was really going to have to be working on, because part of it's how I hold the pen, part of it is that I don't have the patience. I may never be good at lettering, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is not trying and not practicing. So I am trying and practicing. If I'm good at it, great. If I develop the skill enough to be pretty good at it, then okay. If not, then I'll continue with stencils and faux calligraphy and whatever, and I'll be fine. You can find it intimidating when you look at other people's work, but did they go to school for that? Did they get trained for that? How long have they been doing it? You can't, it's like comparing apples to oranges. There are, I don't know, over 8 billion people in the world. There's only one you. There's only one you. And some of us are more inclined towards certain things than others. Like some people are more science oriented. Some people are more math oriented. Some people are more history oriented. Some people are more art oriented. Like I said, it's apples and oranges. And I think it's really more about, it's more about your journey, the path, the experience, than it is about the destination. Because the more I learn about different things, the more I open my mind towards other things, the more my horizons broaden. Instead of comparing myself to a lot of those people I mentioned and a lot of other people, I say thank you to them. Thank you to those who I admire and whose work I love, because you inspire me. You motivate me. And I say this to myself: get your ass in the chair or on the stool or on the couch or in the car or wherever and practice. Practice writing, practice drawing, practice, practice, practice. I mean, where was I at 5 years ago? Where was I at 3 years ago? Where was I at 1 year ago? Where was I at 6 months ago in my journey, as far as being a creator goes, as far as being an artist goes? And I can tell you that when my writing has both improved and kind of went weird places, it's changed. I used to write a shit ton of poetry. I don't write poetry hardly ever anymore. Now I write fiction. Lately, I have been more and more inspired to create art, to create an illustrated journal, to broaden my horizons and think outside of the box. And okay, so maybe writing fiction is a really big passion of mine, but something that has called to my soul loudly has been this journey of journaling, of illustrated journaling. And I think that that's where my soul is being called right now. Maybe one day I'll publish an illustrated journal. Who knows? But I say thank you to all of the people who inspire me, to all of the people who I admire. And it's made me grow as a person. It's made me think twice about when I am creating something, whether it's a piece of poetry that I wrote for Mr. Rockstar for Valentine's Day, or whether it's an outline that I'm working on for a novel, or whether it's a piece of art, a watercolor canvas, or whether it's something in my journal, or even these new illustrated journals that I am working on. Whatever it is, it's helped me. It's helped me with my YouTube channel. It's helped me on Patreon. It's helped me in my everyday life, because I'm looking at color in a different way. I'm looking at composition in a different way. I'm looking at how the light hits things in a different way. I see things from a whole different perspective, and that's because my eyes are more open now. And I won't lie to you and tell you that I don't compare myself to other people, that I don't sometimes feel like, why am I not more successful? Why hasn't this improved more? I'm trying, I'm practicing, I'm working on it. Why? Why can't I seem to get the hang of? And it's okay. I've realized while working on certain things that part of my journey is having to slow down. So my desk over there is filled with markers and paints and all kinds of stuff, because Mr. Victor and I were working on his bug rocks. And he is so impatient, y'all. He'll be 5 in July, and he is so impatient. And I heard myself as a child and as an adult. And you know what? Mimi needs to learn to take her own advice, because I told Victor, slow down, have some patience. You have to wait. And I thought to myself, oh, it's the pot calling the kettle black. The pot calling the kettle black. Slow your own ass down and take your own advice. And you know, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And I didn't think about it because the only person that I really have to concentrate on is myself, my own art. What am I creating? What am I working on? How can I improve it? How can I grow as a creative person, as a creator? How can I grow? And that's by opening my mind and my heart up and embracing all that I learn and all that I love and admire, and not second guessing myself. And a little bit of competition, a little bit of comparing yourself is okay. It's normal. But if you get to the point where you're comparing your own work and somebody else's work, your work to somebody else's work, who's been doing it a whole lot longer, who's been professionally trained, or anything else, I mean, they're, like I said, apples and oranges, then you're only going to hurt yourself by doing that. You're only going to hurt yourself by doing that. I could tell myself all day long that if I had this supply, or if I had this thing, or if I had this kind of computer, if I had this kind of printer, or if I had this kind of writing software, or maybe this book will help me learn how to edit, or maybe this book you know, I could tell myself all day long that if only, if only, if only. But the truth of the matter is that I'm not going to get any better at any of those things I am working on unless I friggin' practice. And that's the truth, y'all. I am in a really good way right now with a lot of different things, and a lot of this has come from soul searching and digging down deep into the areas of my life that I knew I needed to work on. For a while there, I was feeling very stagnant, very blocked, very down on myself. And why did I wait so long to pick back up art? Why have I put my writing back and forth to the side, back and forth, back and forth? Why have I not done this? Why can't I seem to do this? And I was procrastinating with some things. And I had to figure out what was going on. And being sick for February and March really put, in a way, it made things worse for the anxiety and the depression. But in another way, it brought me to some realizations that I needed. I needed a kick in the ass. I needed a kick in the ass, and being sick like that gave me a kick in the ass, because there were times during that period of time where I absolutely had to stop, to slow down. I had to have days where I didn't do anything. And so then I'm watching YouTube videos, and I'm watching Netflix, and I'm reading books, and I'm missing my journaling, but I'm miserable and can't. I'm missing my writing, but I'm miserable and can't. I was so miserable, I really didn't even want to read, and that's bad, y'all. When I don't want to journal, when I don't want to write, when I don't want to read, it's really bad. So I took a break from all of those creative pursuits, and I'm watching Netflix and Hulu and YouTube videos. And I enjoyed that time. I enjoyed that time. It's nothing like doing some binge watching, I'm telling you. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I kept hearing this voice that was saying, you know, you're never going to get better at watercolor if you don't get your ass in there in watercolor. If you don't pick up the brush and you don't start. You're never going to get your novel finished if you don't write. You're never going to get that series finished reading. I mean, you're never going to finish reading that series if you don't pick up the damn book. And yeah, you're never going to grow your Patreon channel if you don't do what you need to do. You're never going to get that shit done in the yard. You're never going to get the closet clean. You know, I was really down, and I dug deep. I dug really deep. And April being back to basics really helped with that. And this month being Makeover May has really helped, because I'm redoing things. I'm revamping things. I'm looking at things from a fresh perspective after getting back to some of the basics in April. And you know, I feel so much better. I feel much more alive. And I realized when I was looking at some things, some video and some pictures and stuff, I had an aha moment. I'm looking, and then I had went back to some of the things that originally motivated me to pick up the journal and put art in it. And I had a conversation, and part of the conversation was about how much watching yourself with the process videos, or watching yourself like in any, when you can look back and look at yourself from a different perspective, from the wow, from a year later or 2 years later, and you can look at your work, your writing from 2 years ago, or your writing from 10 years ago, your artwork from 10 years ago, your artwork from 5 years ago, from a year ago, and you can see the differences and how much you've changed and how much you've improved, even what you like and don't like. Maybe you were writing fantasy back then and you like more, you're more interested in, I don't know, historical mixed with fantasy. You're adding some real stuff into there. Maybe what you look at's changed. Maybe how you look at it's changed. Maybe you were working on one style of journaling, or one style of art, or one medium at one technique, and that just seemed out of your depth, and now you tried it and you love it. Um, there are all kinds of different things, but I saw myself, and then I saw the other person, how things were a few years ago, their art, and how much their art has really improved. And they said, I've watched how much you've improved, how much you've blossomed. And I just got finished with that thought about this very same person myself. I'm thinking about that person and how much that person has blossomed and how wonderful their artwork is. And I'm thinking, I'm not at that level yet, but that doesn't mean I can't be. And I'm not, I'm not, I'm not a professional artist. I'm not a professional writer. The only thing I'm a professional at is being myself. Um, and that's all I can do. So I'm just really excited because things are getting better. But that aha moment meant kicking myself in the butt for waiting so very long, for being afraid and waiting so very long to pursue something that I thought was a bit out of my reach, for a lot of different reasons. And now that I'm like, you know what, all I can do is try. All I can do is give it a shot. And if anything, it'll improve how I journal, it'll improve my art skills, it'll improve my perspective on things. And, my techniques and all that stuff will improve. I'll grow as an artist, as a creator, and that's what really matters. So I hope y'all have a good one, and I hope this wasn't too rambly of a coffee chat. But sometimes I get on a roll, and this is a really important subject to me, because, like I said, we all have a tendency to compare ourselves to others, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but we all do things differently, and we're all coming from a different perspective, from a different background, from different training, from all kinds of different things, and it's apples and oranges, baby, apples and oranges. Have a good one. Bye.